Good afternoon, teacher.
Good afternoon, Aruka. How are you today? You're good? Okay. Well, let's wait for others before we start with our discussion. Please prepare your device, computer, or whatever you want to use there for our hands-on activity, as long as it has Microsoft Excel. Hello, Siri. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Grace.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so let's wait for others. Please prepare your computer or iPad that has Microsoft Excel. Okay, by the way, I will also send the file to our line group. And while waiting, please download the file. Okay, let me share it. By the way, we will use a different file today. So please download the file that I sent to our line group. Okay, so where are the others? Why do I have only 3 students? Okay, Poon is about to join. Good afternoon, Poon. Okay, so I think we will just start with our discussion, students. Again, please download the file that I have sent to our line group. Please download it now because we will use a different file today. I changed the file because I think for this one, it's better if we use the new file. Have you downloaded it yet? How about the others? Okay, so for today's students, we will study about count functions. Okay, so I will teach you about the count functions in Excel. I'm not sure if you are familiar with this one, but this one also is very helpful, especially when you have like a very long or very detailed spreadsheet that has a lot of information in it. Okay, so you can use these functions. These functions are very helpful. Okay, it is called the count functions. Okay, from the word count, this is used to count something. Okay, so there are, I think, 3. I will teach you the 3 most common count functions in Excel: the count, count A, and count F functions. Okay, so those are the count functions that we are going to tackle today. Okay. So you have this file, right? Like this. Is it the same? Maybe I sent the wrong file. Just making sure. Same. Okay, so this one is student grade, and this is for the activity later, and then this one is for the sample. Okay, this is the one that we are going to use for our discussion. Okay, but for the activity, you will do this one by yourself. Maybe later I will guide you also as you answer this one. Okay, but don't worry because I will teach you first before you do that. Okay, so let's start with the count function first. Okay, so let me show you a video about that. Okay, so we will start with the count function. Okay, by the way, can you see my screen? Okay, so I will show you a video first. This is just a very short video. Okay, and then after that, we will apply this one to our example, okay, or to the file that I sent you. Okay, so I will play the video now.
The count function counts the number of cells that contain numbers. To show how it works, I'll use a worksheet that's set up to show each day that sales are made at various locations. I'd like to know how many sales were made in January, which means finding out how many cells have numbers in them in the area from B3, which is January 1st, through the end of January, and in all locations. The area ends at N33. The count function will give me the number of cells in that area that contain numbers. I'll select a cell and type equals count, open parentheses, B3 to N33, close parentheses, and then press enter. Count returns the answer 94, which means 94 cells in the area I specified have numbers, so there were 94 sales in January. There are other functions that you can use to count things besides all the numbers in a range. If you want to count logical values, text, or error values, use the COUNTA function. If you want to count only numbers that meet certain criteria, use the COUNTIF function or the COUNTIFS function.
Okay, so students, that is all about the count function. Okay, so if you want to use the count function in Excel, what is the syntax for that? What are you going to type if you want to use the count function? As what have been shown in the video. Anyone? What are you going to type if you want to use the count function? What's the syntax for that? Anyone? Please answer. It was shown in the video earlier. What are you going to type? Just like, for example, if you want to use the sum function, you will type equals sum, equals average, something like that. How about if you are going to use the count function? How are you going to do that? Anyone?
I'm not sure, but I think equal and then count.
Yes, that's right, Poon. Very good. Okay, so all you need to do is to have the equal sign and then count. The same with your sum function, average, minimum, maximum. Okay, it always starts with an equal sign. Okay, so you can use lowercase letters or uppercase letters. Okay, so it's up to you. Okay, actually both are okay because I think Excel is not really case sensitive, so you can use both uppercase and lowercase. Okay, so here, students, the count function, I will make it very simple for you. The count function will count all the cells. By the way, these rectangles in Excel, you call them cells. Okay. So the count function will count the cells that have numbers only. Okay, again, the count function will count the cells that have numbers only. Okay, just like here in our example, in the sample spreadsheet. Okay, so there are cells that have names, right? There are cells that have text, but there are also cells that have numbers. There are also empty cells. Okay, so here, students, based on the example here, how many cells have numbers? How many? How many cells have numbers? Yes, Sirikanya? 9. Okay, so here in our example, there are 9 cells that have numbers. So the count function will count only the cells that have numbers. Okay, all in all, we have here like more than 9 cells used, but some of them don't contain numbers. So that's why if you use the count function, okay, you can count the cells only that have values. Okay, so in order to do that, students, for example, we want to count the cells that have numbers, okay, in the whole table. Okay, so all we need to do is to use the equals count. Okay, and then after that, just drag or highlight the range. Okay, for example, if you want to count the number of cells that have numbers from here to here, then you can highlight it. Okay, select the range. Okay, actually the range depends on the condition given. Okay, so here students, in our case, we have this spreadsheet. Okay, so let me zoom in this one for you so that you can easily see it. Okay, so all we need to do is to just use the equals count. And then after that, just highlight here. Okay, so since there are only 9 cells have numbers, so the output of this one should be number, okay, or 9. Okay, again, students, the count function only counts the cells or the number of cells that have numbers. Do you understand? Yes or no? It will not count other cells that have text or empty cells, only numbers. So that's all you need to remember if you want to use the count function. Okay? Right now, it's not really that helpful because we have a very short spreadsheet, but in the future, maybe if you want to do accounting or something like that, then you might have a long spreadsheet that has a lot of data. So you can use the count function and it will be very useful. Okay, so any questions about the count function? Any questions? No? Okay, now let me stop this sharing because I will share the count A function. Okay, so for the count A function, students, count A, okay, there is no video for this one, but this one is very easy also. Okay, so the count A function counts the number of cells that are not empty. Okay, so for example, if the cell has something in it, it will be counted if you use the count A function. Unlike the count function, it will only count cells that have numbers. The count A function will count all the cells that are not empty. Okay? So it may have text, it may have other symbols there. As long as it is not empty, when you use the count function, it will be counted. Okay? You understand, students? Okay, so very easy, right? The difference between the two. Okay, so let's try to do it now in our example. Okay, so here, students, when the range is this one, okay, so, and if you use the count function or the count A function, what would be the answer? What would be the answer? Anyone?
8.
18, are you sure?
No, I didn't say 18. I see 8,
8, really?
but I'm not sure.
This one is the range, student. So if you will use the count A function for this one, again, the count A function will count all the cells that have, or count the cells that are not empty, So what would be the answer? Anyone from the three of you?
17.
Yes, it should be 17 because there are 17 cells here that have something in it or that are not empty. Okay, so let's try if it is really 17. So to use the count A function, it's the same with count. All you need to do is to add letter A. Okay, so equals count A. Okay, count A, and then you need to highlight the range. Okay, and then after that, it should have 17. Okay, so that's right. So we have 17. Okay, so students, that is the difference between the count and count A. Again, what is count function? What does it count? Anyone? What does the count function count? What does it count? Cells that have, anyone? Students, you forgot already?
Number.
Okay, cells that have numbers. How about count A? It counts the cells that are not
something inside.
Yes, or the cells that are not empty. Okay, so for example, this is the range. Okay, D1 to D4. Okay, if you use count function for this one, what would be the answer? Count function. What would be the answer? Okay, very good, Haruka. How about count A? 3, very good. How about if the range is this one, count? What would be the answer? Okay, count 7. How about count A? How about count A? What's the answer? Why 9? What's the answer for this one? Why 10? How is that? If you use the count function. Count A, I mean count A. Students, I just want to remind you that the count A functions will count the cells that are not empty. So it will count numbers, it will count words, it will count everything as long as the cell is not empty. So what would be the answer if you use count A here? What would be the answer? Yes, Sirikanya, you are correct. 7 also. Okay, because there are 7 cells here that are not empty. So basically, they are the same with the count and count A in this case. Okay, so any questions about count and count A? No? Okay, now let's go to count if. This is the last count function that we are going to discuss, but this one is quite complex because there will be conditions here. That's why we have the word if, just like in programming, if this, then do this. If that, then do that. Okay, something like that. Okay, so let me show a video about if or count if in Excel.
Use the COUNTIF function to count the number of cells that meet criteria you specify, such as the number of times a name shows up within a range of cells. To use a formula with COUNTIF, select an empty cell, type the equals sign, and type COUNTIF into the cell, followed by an opening parenthesis. The COUNTIF function has 2 arguments, range and criteria. Let's start with range. Select a range of cells, type a comma to advance to the next argument, which is the criteria to look for. Type a quotation mark, and then the name Buchanan as the search criteria. End with another quotation mark. Type a closing parenthesis and press Enter. Buchanan's name appears 7 times within the selected range. To change the arguments of the function, you don't need to retype it. Select the formula bar and replace Buchanan's name with another salesperson.
Okay, students, so that is about count if. If you use count if, there will be a criteria to be considered or the condition. Okay, so in order to use count if, students, all you need to do is to just type equals count and then add the word if. Okay, and then here, students, there will be range and criteria. So the range is where you want to look at. Criteria is what do you want to look for, okay? So this one is where, range is where, criteria is what, okay? So for example here, we have this simple table. So for example, we would like to count the cells that have 87. Okay, so how many cells have 87 in this range? How many? If the range is this one, how many? Okay, so there are 2, right? Okay, this is just a very short table, students. But what if your table is very long? Okay, so let's just assume that this is a very long table that has a lot of data. And we would like to count the cells that have 87. Okay, all you need to do that, students, is to use the COUNTIF. Okay, without S, without S. Okay, COUNTIF. And then you select the range where you want to look that data from. Okay, so in this case, this is our range, for example, but again, the range will depend on the situation or on the condition given. Okay, and then students, all you need to do is to type comma. And then for numbers, for example, you want to look for 87, just type 87. Okay. And then close parenthesis, and then the answer for this one should be 2. Okay, did you get the answer 2? Okay, students, for numbers like this. Okay, the range as well as the criteria. Okay, COUNTIF, range plus the criteria. The criteria is what you want to look for. Okay, so this one should be 2. But how about if you want to look for words? Okay, just like, for example, Elena Gilbert. Okay, so for this one, students, it's quite different. Okay, because you need to put, okay, range. And then for the criteria, students, if you are looking for words, you need to put it inside of a quotation mark. Okay, or inside of quotation marks, like this one. Do you know the symbol? Yes or no? Quotes. Okay, so you need to enclose it if you are looking for a word. Okay, so for example, Elena Gilbert. Students, by the way, again, I just want to repeat that this is not case sensitive. Okay, this one, this Elena Gilbert, and this one are the same because they have the same letters. It doesn't matter if they are big or small or uppercase or lowercase. Okay? So what should be the answer here if you do like this? What should be the answer? It should be, students, speak please. You can unmute your microphones.
1.
Okay, very good. It should be 1. Again, students, for numbers here, for the criteria, okay, if you want to look for a number, then you don't need to enclose it in quotes, okay? But if you want to look for words like this one or names, you need to enclose it in quotation marks, okay? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, how about students if we want to look for numbers that are greater than 85? Again, we will look for numbers that are greater than 85. So how many numbers here are greater than 85? How many? Greater than 85, how many numbers? Okay, so there are 5 numbers, right, students? Okay, so when you do that, students, using the COUNTIF function, it's just the same with this one. You will just change it to the condition. Okay, so let's try. Equals COUNTIF. Okay, and then the range first, where you want to look at or to look for it. Okay, and then comma, okay? You need to enclose it also in a quotation mark. Okay, so greater than 85. Okay? And then close parenthesis, this the answer for this one should be 5, right? Okay, so that's it. Okay, again, like this, students, if you use logical operators such as greater than, less than, greater than equal or equal to, or less than or equal to, then you need to enclose that one and the number in quotation marks. Okay. Okay, understand? Okay, how about if you want to count the numbers that are 85 and above? How would you do that? 85 and above. If you want to find numbers that are greater than or equal to 85, how are you going to do that? What would be the criteria for that one? What would be it? Anyone? Do you know this symbol in math? Less than equal, greater than equal. Do you know this symbol in math? Less than or equal, greater than or equal. I'm not sure if you have this one in math, but in programming, you have like this. Okay, so for example, students, less than or equal to 80, meaning 80 and below. Okay, 80 is included. Okay, when you say less than 80 only, 80 is not included. It will start from 79, 78, okay, like that. If less than 80, okay, 79 and below. But if you will say less than or equal to 80, then 80 and below. 80 is included. Okay, the same with greater than or less than 90. Okay, so if it is greater than, less than, equal. Greater than or equal to 90, meaning 90 and above. Okay, if greater than 90 only, meaning 91 and above. Okay, so do you understand this one? Yes or no? Understood? Okay, so now students, let's go back to my question. Okay, for example, if you want to find numbers or how many numbers are greater than or equal to 85, how are you going to do that using the count function or the COUNTIF function? Anyone? How are you going to do that? COUNTIF, range, and then what would be the criteria or the condition? Anyone? We are trying to count the numbers that are greater than or equal to 85. So therefore, what should you do here? Students, please answer. This one is very easy, okay? Greater than or equal to 85, okay? And then make sure to enclose those symbols and numbers in quotation marks, okay? And then it will count. What would be the answer? How many? It should be greater than or equal to 85. Okay, it should be 7. Very good, Haruka. Okay, so that's it, students. So that is the difference between the count A, and the COUNTIF function. So again, the count function counts what? Only the count. What does it count? Anyone? Cells that have numbers. Okay. How about count A? What does it count?
That have something.
Okay, cells that have something or cells that are not empty. How about COUNTIF? COUNTIF. It is a count function with condition. Okay, so it will not count everything. It depends on your condition. Okay, any questions? Okay, so let's go now to your activity. Okay, so here, students, you have this data. Okay, this is quite a long table now. Okay, so here, students, you need to answer using the count functions that we have discussed. So you can choose count, count A, or count If. It depends. Okay, so for example, if you want to count the number of students here, what function are you going to use? Is it count, count A, or count If? What are you going to use for this one? Anyone? Count, count A, or count If?
Count.
You will count how many students? Count, count If, or count A? Anyone? You will count these students if how many are they in the class? So, and these are words, remember, these are words. These are names, letters, text. So,
Count A.
count A, okay? This one is count A. How about the second one? This one is count A. How about number of subjects? This one.
Count.
Are you sure? Are these
Nope.
numbers? Students, again,
Count
is
A.
for
Count
numbers
A.
only. Okay, so this one is count A also. How about number of cells that are not empty from here up to here? A1 to I17. Cells that are not empty. What are you going to use? Please open your microphone and answer.
Count A.
Okay, count A for this one. How about the next one? Number of cells that have numbers.
Count.
Count, very good. Okay, how about for from here to here? What are you going to use from here to here? Number of students who got less than 80 in computer. So you have a condition here already. So therefore, what are you going to use?
Count If.
Count If. Okay, so for the remaining cells here, you need to use the count If function. Okay, so these are clues already. Okay, all you need to do is to identify the range, and for count If, you need to identify the criteria or the condition based on the given statement here. Okay, students, so this one would be your homework because I think the time is not enough, but you can start doing it right now if you want to. Okay, and if you have questions, I can still assist you on that, or I can still address your questions if you have. Okay, so I've given you clues already. And you can also research additional information on the internet, on YouTube. There are tutorials about Excel. Actually, this one is very, very easy. I made it very, very easy for you. Cow, this is not your class. He's from grade 1. I will remove. For those who are not here, please tell them to just watch the videos, the video later when it is uploaded already, so that they can do the activity also. What happened to Grace? Is there any problem with her connection?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so for this one, students, you can submit until, I will give you time to do this one, I think Friday. Okay, until Friday midnight, I will give you the time to do this one. Okay, but if you can submit early, I would really appreciate it. Please submit to our line group and please change the file name to your nickname and then number. Okay, so that I can identify it easily. I will check it once when I am free and once I have your work. Okay, students? So again, please do not forget, these are clues already. All you need to do is to identify the range, identify the criteria or condition for the COUNTIF functions. Okay? Okay, students, so that is all for today. I'm looking forward to seeing you again next week. I hope next week, not only the three of you, I hope others can join already next week. Okay, so have a nice day and stay safe, everyone. Goodbye. Bye.